Okay, good morning, first grade. Mrs. Little here to go over your day one instructional packet, which will be for Thursday, April 2nd. So what I want to talk about today, first I'm going to talk to the parents and let you know that when you get those packets, the first thing that you're going to see is a letter, and then you will see our contact information. So that will be for all of the first grade teachers and also the special ed teachers, the autistic support or the learning support teachers. So if you need to contact anyone with specific questions, just make sure that you're contacting your child's teacher. So even though I'm doing this portion of the instruction, if you have a specific question, just make sure you contact them. So the first few days that you're getting will be for April 2nd and April 3rd, and then the next full week, which is the week of April 6th. We try to keep the packets short. We know that a lot of the parents are working with multiple kids at home, and so you might have, a few sessions a day that you're going to have to sit down and help your kids. So we try to make it as short as possible. Also, our first few days will be a review skill. So your kids might say, well, I already learned those words, or I already did that math skill. That's fine. It's just a review. Once we find out what's going on from this point forward, then we will have, different skills coming home if needed. So that's what we're looking at in those packets. And I'm going to start with the ELA, which is our reading, our language, our grammar, our spelling, things like that. So if you look in your packet, you will see a table of contents for that kind of goes right through what you should be doing each day. And then after that table of contents, you see a high frequency word list. Now, certainly we don't expect you to study all those words in one sitting. Those are just the high frequency words that your child should know, and to kind of go over and review. So when we look at high frequency, or sometimes we call them sight words, those are words that generally you cannot sound out. Meaning those phonics skills that your child has learned, if they see a word like map, they can go map and sound the word out. With our high frequency words, you really can't do that for the majority of them, so the kids just need to know them. In my room, we go, take a brain picture, your brain just has to know it. So that's that high frequency word list. And that's actually our first skill that we're going to start with for ELA. So looking at your first word, or your first paper, it's going to be a sheet where the kids are just matching up the word shape to the word. Now that's important for a few reasons. Research shows that kids need to work with the words, read the words, hear the words, say them, and kind of experience them. We call that kinesthetic learning. So when the kids are looking at the shape of the word, that really helps them to do that. So I am not going over every single thing on every single sheet. I'm just going to kind of make this general so that you can help them as needed. This is our word list that they're going to be working on. So we took those high frequency words and just pulled out, a small amount of them. When we look at these, some things that you can do at home to make them more fun, because honestly, kids don't want to sit there and do sheets all day long. I know that. I have kids as well. Some things that we like to do in my room is we will exercise spell the words. So when we see, let me pick a word like 8, because that has 3 types of letters. So when we have a letter like E in my room, we just go E, and I. Now when we get to G, which is we call a submarine letter, we dip down. So we go E, I, G. And then when we get to a tall letter like H and T, we will either jump or just put our hands up. I always tell the kids I'm not jumping, I will just put my hands up. So when we're looking at spelling a letter or a word like 8, I say it, they say it, we spell it together. So we go 8, E, I, G, H, T. 8, and that's how we spell it. Some other fun ways that you can work on the sight words without necessarily doing a worksheet over and over. You can get an old cake pan or sheet pan and fill it with shaving cream if you have it, and let the kids write in the shaving cream. That way it's real quick to clean up. You just rinse it off in the sheet or in the sink. Another way that you can practice them now that the weather is really nice, if you have sidewalk chalk, you can go ahead outside with sidewalk chalk and just have them write their words out there. You can have them play a little game with them, like a memory game. If you get just little sheets of paper and write 2 cards with about, 2 cards with animal, flip them down like a memory game and have them flip over and match and play with you, or even play with a bigger brother or sister. That's a fun way that they can do it. Also, now that the weather is warmer, if you have like a big area of concrete or something, they can get a hose and go out and write it on the concrete with a hose. So lots of fun ways that they can look at learning these words. And again, these are words that when they are learning, we just want them to know them. So that would be our first ELA sheet. The next ELA sheet is going to be sentences. Now this one's very basic. It gives them a sentence that is missing an uppercase at the beginning and then the end mark. Now some things that you want to watch, you know, don't just tell them, hey, every question or every sentence is missing the beginning uppercase and the end mark. See if they notice that. An adaptation that you can make for yourself or the children is, if you're kind of running out of time, I know a lot of you are working from home, instead of rewriting the whole sentence, you could certainly just have them circle the beginning uppercase and write it, and then just add in the end mark. So you can adapt these sheets and these packets as needed. But on that one, we're just looking for, did they remember their uppercase and did they get the right end mark? If it's a question, did they put a question mark? If it's a sentence that's showing excitement or emotion, did they get that exclamation point? And if it's a telling sentence or a statement, did they get the period? So that's basically it for our first day of ELA. Some things that you can also do, I can't stress this enough, read with your kids. So I know we're not sending the big books home, it's really not feasible right now, but there are a lot of apps right now that are offering free books during this closure. Epic is a great one. ABC Mouse is offering some free services. Now I don't think they have full books on there, but they definitely have a lot to read. And if you're on Facebook, Mrs. Swartz created a group called Bay's Free Resources. So check that out. A lot of parents, a lot of teachers are sharing on there things that you can do at home to work with your children. So definitely read with them. That's going to be the biggest thing that you can do at home in addition to these sheets. All right, next we're going to look at our day 1 math. And for our day 1 math, we are focusing on teen numbers. Now again, for a lot of the kids, this is going to be a review. They might tell you, I already did this. No big deal. If they say that to you, just say, well, then you should be wonderful at this, and see how they do. So in the packet, you are going to see some blocks. Now I'm using circles. They're just easier for me to draw, and that's what I always tell the kids too. If you're making a model, use circles. That's the easiest. And then you're going to see another amount of circles separated. So our focus on this is, can they recognize the 10 frame as a 10? So when they're looking at this, hopefully by this point in first grade, they should not have to get one finger and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's too slow. I'll tell my kids in the room, we don't want to be slow folks, let's do this the fast way. We want them recognizing, and they may do this, they may box that up as a whole unit. We want them recognizing that those 10 ones are always a 10. So we can just count it as 10. Now when we're looking at the sheet that you're going to be doing, they're going to have a 10 and then some more leftover ones. So it doesn't give you room on the sheet to do this, but this is one way that it was presented. When we look at that 10, that is one part of the number that we're pulling apart. And then we have, in this case, five leftover ones. And the kids worked a lot with those number bonds. So when we look at this, hopefully what they're able to just kind of do in their head is a 10 plus 5 more is 15. We also want them to be able to say that this same value is 110, 5 ones. I'm going to move out of the way so I'm there. And we want them to always know that 110, 5 ones, 10 plus 5, or this model always has a value of 15. So looking at this on the back, they're going to have that word form that's written with a number and then the name of the place value. And then there's also a question that asks, what is the same about every team number and what is different? So when we look at that, what we're really looking for there is to go back to this understanding that every team number, what it has in common is that it all has a 10. Or they may say it as, it all has 10 ones that we could bundle. However they say that, we want to know that every team number has this 10. This is the same. This is the same. This is the same in every single team number. What's different in the team numbers, mathematically what we want them to say is that the amount of ones is what makes them different. So in 15, it has 5 ones. If we're looking at a number like 19, it would still have the same number of 10s, 110, but the ones place, or the amount of ones, is what would change. So those are our day 1 focuses. Again, if you see that your child's struggling with it, you can certainly reach out to that individual teacher, see if they have any ideas. If you see that your child is breezing through it, just see if you can maybe make it a little tougher. Like say, okay, I see you did the team numbers. Can you show me 59? So you can always kind of adapt this on your own without too much extra work on yourself. But again, just making sure that they are studying basic facts also for math would be a good thing. When we leave first grade, we are hoping that they, boom, just know facts through 10, and that would mean something like 6 plus 2 is 8. We would hope they just know that. 10 minus 6 is 4. We would hope that they would just know that, or become what we call automatic with those, kind of just like they know the flashcards for their sight words. All right, anything else, direct that to your teacher, and if not, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good Thursday.